when Liu Bang was young. He was the kind of man people assumed would never amount to anything. In modern terms, you might call him a village drifter, a man with no clear career, no serious occupation, and no interest in living the respectable life his family expected of him. To his father, Liu Bang was not an ambitious future leader. He was an irresponsible young man with no direction. According to the records of the Grand Historian Liu Bang was born in Zhongyang Village, Fengyi, Pei County, in an area that is now part of Suzhou in Jiangsu Province. His family had no noble title, no political influence, and no famous ancestors. They made their living from farming, like countless other families in ancient China. Liu Bang's father, later known as Liu Taigong, was a practical and hardworking farmer. Under normal circumstances, Liu Bang should have followed the same path. He was expected to work the land, support his family, and slowly build a respectable household of his own. But Liu Bang had no interest in that kind of life. He disliked farming and avoided hard physical work. He was not known for taking his studies seriously, either. Instead, he preferred drinking, making friends, and wandering around the local area. While other men were working in the fields or managing their family property, Liu Bang was often drinking in taverns and spending time with people from every level of society. His father was deeply disappointed in him. He frequently compared Liu Bang with his older brother, Liu Zhong. His brother knew how to farm, earn money, and manage the family property. Liu Bang, on the other hand, seemed to be good at only one thing: making friends. To his father, that was not a useful skill. If Liu Bang had lived today, his neighbors might have described him as the local loafer, always outside, always talking, always drinking, but never doing anything that looked like real work. And yet, something about Liu Bang was unusual. His father might not have respected him, but the people around him genuinely enjoyed his company. That was the first important difference between Liu Bang and an ordinary troublemaker. Liu Bang was generous, loyal to his friends, and exceptionally good at dealing with people. He understood how to make others feel relaxed around him. He could talk to minor government officials, merchants, butchers, laborers, and wandering adventurers without treating anyone as too important or too insignificant. The records of the Grand Historian describes him with the words: he was kind and loved people. He took pleasure in giving. In other words, Liu Bang was warm-hearted and willing to help others. Whenever he had money, he was not afraid to spend it on his friends. Because of this, people from very different backgrounds were willing to associate with him. Some of the men who would later follow Liu Bang into war first came to know him during these early years. At the time, none of them could have imagined where those friendships would eventually lead. They were not yet famous generals or imperial ministers. They were local officials, butchers, merchants, and ordinary men living in and around Pei County. But years later, some of them would help Liu Bang overthrow the Qian dynasty, defeat Xiang Yu, and establish the Han Empire. He tells us something important about the young Liu Bang. He had no successful career, but he was already developing the ability that would later become his greatest strength. He could bring different kinds of people together. Many people believe Liu Bang became emperor because he was lucky. Luck certainly played a part. He lived at a moment when the Qian Empire was beginning to collapse, and that chaos created opportunities that would never have existed in a peaceful age. But luck alone cannot explain his success. A man who depends only on luck cannot keep talented people around him for years. He cannot repeatedly lose battles, suffer humiliation, and face disaster, yet still persuade others to stay and continue fighting for him. People followed Liu Bang even when his future looked uncertain. That required something more than luck. It required trust, loyalty, and an unusual understanding of human nature. Liu Bang also possessed another quality often found in successful leaders. He did not care too much about what other people thought of him. His father criticized him. His neighbors probably gossiped about him. Respectable people may have looked down on his drinking and wandering. But Liu Bang did not allow their judgment to control his life. He continued to drink. He continued to make friends. And he continued to live in a way that made sense to him, even if it looked irresponsible to everyone else. One story recorded by ancient historians reveals even more about his personality. Liu Bang often visited local taverns, but he did not always have enough money to pay for his drinks. Normally, a customer who repeatedly failed to pay would eventually be thrown out. But the tavern owners continued to welcome Liu Bang. At the end of the year, they would sometimes destroy the records of his debts instead of forcing him to pay. Later legends claimed that mysterious signs appeared whenever Liu Bang became drunk and that his presence brought unusually good business to the taverns. These supernatural details were probably added after he became emperor, when historians and storytellers wanted to suggest that he had always been chosen by heaven. But we do not need to believe the legend to understand the point. Whenever Liu Bang entered a tavern, people gathered around him. The room became livelier. Friends followed him inside. Conversations began and business improved. Liu Bang had a kind of personal magnetism. It cannot be measured, inherited, or taught easily. But it made people want to approach him, listen to him, and become part of his circle. As a young man, Liu Bang did not look like a hero. He certainly did not look like a future emperor. To aristocratic warriors such as Xiang Yu, he was merely a low-born man from the streets, socially inferior, badly educated, and unworthy of respect. But Xiang Yu failed to understand something about Liu Bang. Liu Bang possessed an ability that Xiang Yu would never truly master. He could make other people want to work for him. More importantly, he could persuade talented people to risk their lives for his cause. Liu Bang was not the greatest warrior of his time. He was not the greatest military strategist. He could not fight like Xiang Yu, plan campaigns like Han Qian, or develop strategies like Zhang Liang. But Liu Bang knew how to recognize talent, bring talented people together, and give them the freedom to do what they did best. That ability would eventually become more powerful than personal strength. Why did men such as Xiao He, Zhang Liang, and Han Qian ultimately choose to stand beside Liu Bang? The answer had already begun to take shape during his youth. Liu Bang's greatest talent was never fighting battles with his own hands. It was understanding people and putting the right person in the right position. That talent would transform an unemployed village drifter into the founder of the Han Dynasty. It would also change the course of Chinese history. In the next episode, we will answer another unlikely question. How did a man who spent his days drinking and socializing become an officer in the government of the Qian Empire? And what exactly did Liu Bang do as the head of a local station, a position known as the Sisui Pavilion Chief?